Carbonite Jedi, where the Force will be with you always. In today's video, I'm going to be going over an article that is near and dear to everybody's heart. It is the Darth Jar Jar theory explained, talking about Jar Jar Binks and if he's really a Sith or not. So, after I get through reading this article, I will give you my thoughts and ideas. So sit back, relax, and let's get this video going. On ScreenRant.com, they have an article titled, "The Darth Jar Jar Theory Explained." Jar Jar Binks is the most annoying character in the prequel trilogy, but could he really be Darth Jar Jar, Palpatine's accomplice? Jar Jar Binks is notorious as a bumbling buffoon of Star Wars lore, but could he be a secret Sith Lord? George Lucas has always maintained that Star Wars is for the kids, and when he was launching the prequel trilogy, he decided he needed to have some comic relief. That led Lucas to create Jar Jar Binks. Jar Jar is generally viewed as the most annoying character in the entire Star Wars franchise, a bumbling comedy sidekick who somehow lucks out in battle and winds up elevated to impossible positions. Even Lucasfilm insiders weren't struck by the character. The Industrial Light and Magic Animation team actually warned Lucas that they thought he didn't work, but Lucas wouldn't flinch, and to this day, Lucas still considers Jar Jar to be one of his favorite Star Wars characters. What happened to Jar Jar Binks after the prequel movies? Is there more to Jar Jar Binks than meets the eye? One theory suggests that Jar Jar is concealing a dark secret, that his foolishness, clumsiness, lack of self-awareness, and general stupidity is just an act. According to the theory, he really is Darth Jar Jar, Dark Lord of the Sith, and possibly even Palpatine's true master. The Darth Jar Jar theory was first dreamed up by Redditor Lumpa Waru shortly before the release of Star Wars The Force Awakens. He rewatched the prequels with a critical eye and began to realize that there was something distinctly odd about Jar Jar Binks. He noticed several signs of Jar Jar displaying flashes of unusual physical coordination, such as performing somersaults, the like of which are normally associated with Force users in Star Wars. On closer examination, he also noted that several of Jar Jar's action sequences resemble a martial art called Zu Quan, or Drunken Fist Wushu. Interestingly, during the Battle of Naboo in Star Wars The Phantom Menace, there are even a handful of moments where Jar Jar shows preternatural awareness, dodging blaster shots before they're fired, or knowing a droideka is behind him when it's been completely silent. Like any Jedi or Sith, Jar Jar tends to gesture with his hands when he's attempting to persuade others, and significantly, he performs hand gestures in scenes where he's promoted to Bombad General or to Senator. He even uses his hands in Star Wars Attack of the Clones in the scenes where he persuades the Senate to hand control of the galaxy over to Palpatine. Given this is the case, then, combined with Jar Jar's occasional physicality, it hints Jar Jar could be a Force user too, perhaps even the Sith Lord Darth Jar Jar. That raises the disturbing possibility that Palpatine and Jar Jar were collaborators. They both originated from the same planet, after all, and Jar Jar serves Darth Sidious's purposes on many occasions. In Star Wars The Phantom Menace, Jar Jar plants the idea that the Queen is hot in Anakin's mind and encourages the young would-be Jedi to question the Jedi methods from the start. In Attack of the Clones, he's key to Palpatine's acquiring emergency powers. Years after he has been useful in Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, Jar Jar is still shown in Palpatine's company. Not something that would happen if you were really as useless, clumsy, and embarrassing as the films portray him to be. All this suggests that Jar Jar is part of Palpatine's inner circle, a secret Force user who helped the Darth Lord of the Sith achieve his goals. Was this George Lucas's plan? The reality is that this probably wasn't George Lucas's plan at all. He intended Jar Jar to appeal to children, and as such, it's highly doubtful that he had written the character as a secret Dark Lord of the Sith. All the unusual flashes of acrobatic skill and so on are presumably due to inconsistent treatment of the character than to any intentional subterfuge, and the hand gestures likely represent Lucas's desire for Jar Jar to have a sense of physicality to him. The slapstick, Zuquan-style martial arts aren't a dark, subtle secret. They really are slapstick, coming from the same man who created the Ewoks and had 3PO produce a stream of one-liners during the Battle of Geonosis. The truth is that Jar Jar wasn't Palpatine's ally or even master. He was the Sith Lord's patsy. In fact, in an interview with EW, actor Ahmed Best, who played Jar Jar, revealed there was a deleted scene featuring the Gungan. In Revenge of the Sith, there was a scene that was cut where I'm walking down a long pathway with Ian McDiarmid before he is turned into the Emperor, Best recalled, and Palpatine kind of thanks Jar Jar for putting him in power. It's an undeniably dark moment showing the evolution of Jar Jar from fun-loving kid's character into a manipulated politician. But yeah, he added, George's take on it is Jar Jar is now just a politician.
So my thoughts are that Jar Jar is not a Sith. I mean, it would be the most fantastic, mind-bending explanation, and I would absolutely love it if Jar Jar was a Sith. I mean, that would be the only way I would ever say I love Jar Jar Binks, because if he's not a Sith, then there's absolutely no reason for him to be in these movies at all. You know, they said George Lucas used him as, you know, for the kids, but he shouldn't have been in there in the first place if he was just there for the children. His bumbling efforts to do anything is just ridiculous, but apparently he was able to finagle his way in to every situation, follow along, and do things. So it would make complete sense to me that he was a Sith, and it would make a fantastic side story for Disney to create a movie about Jar Jar Binks, if him being a Sith. Give me your thoughts below on what you think about Jar Jar Binks. Almost everybody I know hates him. What if it was true that he was a Sith? Would that change your mind? Would that make you like him better, knowing he was manipulating people like that? Give me your theory. Well, that's it for this video, but I will be back with more Star Wars and sci-fi movie content, and maybe a couple of unboxings of my Black Series. I got my Chewbacca and Black Series action figures. So have a wonderful day, and may the Force be with you always.